What is going on, friends, and welcome back to the Minecraft Hub channel. It has been a very long time since we have went and checked out all the progress that has been happening on the Hermitcraft channel, but today is the day and it is finally time to do that. So we are going to get right into it here, and the first one we are checking out today is Tango Tech. Now this is not his mega base, but we did want to feature it in today's video because it is a huge build for the community on Hermitcraft. This is the Nether Hub, and Tango has done an incredible job on building this Nether Hub. The entire thing has been blacked out with black concrete on the walls, floor, and roof. And then in the middle here, there is a giant tree, which you see him working on right now, primarily made out of different types of the warped wood blocks and also some copper as well. This thing looks super cool. I really love all the details that he did on all the different walls. There's so many cool things, especially in the corners, like the enchantment table, everything like that. He even put ender chests underneath the carpets here on the walkways, not only to add a little bit of light to these areas, but also to add these particle effects as well, which is absolutely genius. Overall, the entire Nether Hub just looks absolutely amazing. Everybody's base will connect up to this. Eventually, years from now, when the world download finally comes out, we will get to tour this thing and find everybody's base from this Nether Hub right here. And the first base that you may go tour could be B-Dub's base right here. This huge gate that he worked on very early on in the season, B-Dubs has finally started to work on the inside of this base, and it's actually been a couple weeks since we've last seen a video from him, so as far as we know, this could have way more done on the inside now. But B-Dubs decided to start adding in some things inside of this base. Of course, this right here is what it looked like before he started, but he started going ahead, clearing out all the area in here, getting some pillar shapes going, and then he went ahead and started finalizing things up in here. Now, it's a super low light level build. There's really not a lot of light in here. You're seeing just some light from the candles on top of these pillars, but he has finished up most of this front entranceway area. You can see he's texturized the floor and the walls. It's looking really good, and I'm very excited to see where this build goes. Zombie Cleo has also been hard at work this season, and in her latest video, she created something absolutely huge. She has started work on her mega base, and she has started off strong, doing a ton of work in her latest episode to get all the walls up for her mega base and really a huge start on what's to come for her base. We are very early on in the season, so seeing Cleo build something this massive up already is definitely super exciting to see exactly what she's going to do with this later on. Of course, she started off just laying out some layers here. You can see she's just kind of shading it up from that very dark deep slate all the way up to it looks like calcite and some white concrete on top, and then she went through and actually texturized most of the walls to get them started as well. But I'm definitely super excited to see exactly how this base ends up turning out. I really like her building style here with the texturizing, just going through adding layers and then going back through and texturizing all the layers. Definitely a super interesting way of doing it instead of doing it all at once, and I really like how this base is coming along so far. Doc M never ceases to amaze us, and in this season of Hermitcraft so far, he has built a World Eater which absolutely decimated a huge area of land here, which of course is going to be a perimeter for a variety of mob farms. One of those mob farms he built up in his latest episode, and that was the Creeper Farm. The first step in that process was making this an area entirely spawn proof, which means he had to fill this whole place in with water. The good news is it was just this corner that he had to do so far, so he was able to get this creeper farm built up. I also really like this creeper farm design. I've never seen anything like it before, and Doc of course is always using new cool farms that you can make in Minecraft. Next up, False Symmetry has been doing a ton of work on her base as well. In her latest couple episodes, she really put in the work on getting all of her walls, all these details on the exteriors of her base put up. I really like the area that she's building in right here. Definitely very fitting, of course, for her actual build, which is why she chose it, of course. But I think it looks really cool as a backdrop to this entire build that's mostly made out of different blues, whites, and grays. We're really getting to the point in the season where the Hermitcraft mega bases are starting to come up into these amazing shapes and designs. Of course, none of them are finished yet. We've got a long way to go on the finishing touches of all these bases, but seeing this part of the bases is always super exciting because you know there's always some great things to come. Just like False Symmetry, Jim has started work on her base as well, getting all the exterior walls up and also some towers as well. Now these towers remind me a lot of her base from last season, and I'm actually seeing a lot of different touches to people's bases that are fitting to last season as well, which I think is super cool to see, especially since last season was so short. But these towers look really cool, and of course they match the towers that are over at her Ocean Monument Guardian farm. Now, of course, nothing over here is texturized yet except maybe this roof portion up here, but the flat stone walls are going to change. Of course, everything about this base is still very early on, and I'm really liking the shape, the size, everything that she's got going with it so far. Next up is Grian, but first let's take a look at Mumbo Jumbo's base. Mumbo has been working on this vault, but unfortunately he's on a bit of a hiatus right now, taking a break from Hermitcraft, and honestly I have to say, it is so well deserved. Mumbo definitely needs a break after building all the insane things he has over the season, so hopefully he takes a break, takes his time, and then gets back into Minecraft later this season. But now let's check out Grian's base. Grian's base is insanely cool so far. All these floating rocks kind of connected together by these hanging vines. I think it's such a cool idea. I really love seeing these different floating islands, everything in Minecraft, and Grian has done an amazing job with it. And not only that, but he's doing a lot of very cool things on the inside of these giant rocks as well. And those cool things are farms, farms, and farms. Grian is building farms on the inside of these things. The first one, he built up a mob farm. In the next rock, he went ahead and he built up a sugarcane and kelp farm. And while these may not be the most efficient farms in the entire world, they are definitely going to be producing him some materials for rockets and various things that he'll need throughout this season. Impulse has fully embraced the dwarf this season, and I really like where his base is going. Even from the first couple episodes, he had already started working on his base, but now we're seeing a lot of the interior get done, and I'm really liking it so far. In this latest build, he decided to work on the nether portal for the center of his base room, and this nether portal was insanely cool. Of course, to actually get to the nether portal though, he first had to build up the walls and the bridges that would all connect to it. This whole thing looks so cool. I really like the deep slate and copper walls that he did here. It combines so well together. And of course, he's got some gold right here in the middle, which really ties in great with the nether portal design he decided to go with. This nether portal design is something that we've actually seen a few times before. The sword design, which I think is super cool. Impulse did a great job of making it his own design though, adding in all these little details throughout here. The gold at the top for the hilt of the sword, and this thing is super tall, going almost all the way up to the roof up above it. Next up, Corrales has a super interesting base idea for this season, combining 3 different super popular franchises from gaming and movies. The first being Fallout, the second being Waterworld, and the third being Mad Max. Now this is a super interesting combination, and I'm super excited to see how all of this is going to tie together. Of course, he's in a super perfect spot for all this. He's got the surrounding water, he's got some forests, some beaches, everything like that. And I really like how he started out with this singular build right here, which I think looks really cool. He did a lot of detail work on it, which really looks super nice. And I'm super excited to see how he's going to tie all those franchises together throughout this season. This is just one small part of something that's going to be very large over here. Corrales is an incredible builder. We've definitely seen some amazing things in the past, and he is for sure on the right track to build something incredible again this season. Pearlescent Moon has been working on her base as well. Hers is mostly on the terrain of this area, and I have to say this is some of the coolest terrain I've ever seen before. This was self-inspired by Pearlescent Moon. She had worked on something like this previously, but this super alien foreign build is something really cool and makes me really excited for the rest of her base. This looks insane up top here. I'm definitely excited to see what she does for the rest of the terrain, as I do think she has a lot more planned for this area, but this area that she's worked on so far looks incredible. I've never seen anything quite like it in Minecraft before. The colors all blend just so nicely together, and it just looks so foreign and alien, something out of the movie Avatar most likely. Rendog has been working a lot this season on a bunch of different things, but right now he's working on this pumpkin factory, or rather a jack-o'-lantern factory that's turning these pumpkins straight into jack-o'-lanterns, and this is such a cool build right here. Of course, this expanded a lot into all the different parts of the build that came after they were turned into jack-o'-lanterns, but the whole interior of this place just looked insane once he finished it up. This build is also right next to Scar's new build, which we'll go over here in just a second, but Rendog went ahead and built up all the roads for this area to connect up to these two incredible shops that are right here. But the inside of this place is just so full of detail. There is so much happening inside of here, and I think it just looks so cool. All the different stations he did of the different parts of the process that the pumpkins and jack-o'-lanterns were going through to get their final stages. It's such a genius idea to come up with all of this, and it just turned out so good looking. And of course, when Scar isn't flying around pretending to be a creeper to scare people, he is hard at work building up some very cool bases and shops. Right now, he just finished up this shop right here. This thing is going to be a redstone component shop, which I think is a great idea for Scar. Even if he's not the one doing the redstone, he can sell all the materials to actually get the redstone done. And you also notice these entire walls are made out of bone blocks, which is super cool to see. You always see bones used for different decorations, things like that, but never for just the entire walls of a build. So I loved seeing that here, and I really like the shape and design of this building as well. Scar's building process is so cool to me, how much time he spends planning and preparing for all of these builds. He did a ton of work on the interior and all the details of this build, just like all of his other ones, and it really turned out amazing. He did a great job using the bone blocks and the sandstone here, and combining it also with some bright colors with that copper on top, made it all just look so good paired together. Next up, Stress Monster has been working on a new area of her base, and this area is a mine area which is going to house the villagers, the mason villagers who are going to be trading her all those types of blocks. But this area right here is going to be the entrance of it, and she actually turned this into a super cool looking mine area where she can go ahead and put all of her villagers. But she did such a cool job doing all the detailing in here, and now she just has to get all the villagers in place to finalize this thing up. Last but definitely not least today, we are checking out Tango Tech, who has been going absolutely insane. This dude spent so much time and effort doing this build for this most recent episode, and it's probably the smallest portion of this entire build, as he did the layout for the rest of the build once he finished this thing up. This thing is absolutely massive though, and it looks so cool. It's definitely a Tango Tech build. You see a lot of his style here, especially if you look back at maybe his Hermitcraft Season 5 base. It has a very similar style, but now he's got the deep stone blocks, which really add a lot to this entire build. Of course, the gateway of this is probably my favorite part of this so far, just that huge mouth that looks like it could chomp down at any second, and that's what people have to walk through to get into this base once it's finally finished up. This whole thing though looks so cool. The ice on it especially is super cool, and right here we can actually see the layout for the rest of this base. This thing is going to be absolutely huge. I was not kidding when I said that was probably the smallest part of this base. Anyways guys, that is all the time that we have for you today. Thank you guys so much for watching. I know there are a few hermits that we missed in today's video, but we will be covering the rest of the Hermitcraft season pretty much every other week, so definitely stick around and check out the rest of our videos, because we definitely have a lot of other content that you guys are going to like. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.